Welcome back to Cast Iron Cooking, where today we're going to be making scrambled eggs with hot dogs. And we're going to be doing it in 2 pans this time. If you watched the previous video, we had a single pan where all the ingredients were eventually mixed. But this time, we're going to be using 2 pans. The first pan is going to have the beef franks, the onions and pepper and mushrooms, and the second pan is going to be the cheesy eggs themselves. And that way, when we get done, you'll have the added ingredients on top but separate from the scrambled eggs themselves, and the scrambled eggs will be nice and fluffy. So I've cut up all the ingredients: the yellow pepper, the beef franks, the onions, and the mushrooms are in the can, and the eggs are already scrambled with the cheese and milk and ready to go. So the first thing we've got to do is heat up both the pans in the oven. We're using 380 degrees, and the one pan is going to be nice and hot. We'll have all of the added ingredients, and the second pan will be for the eggs themselves. So once the pans are heated up, then we're going to take and add to it ghee, which is going to be the only oil that we're using in cooking. Ghee is essentially butter without the protein. The protein's been removed to reduce the possibility of the oil burning while you're cooking, and it actually prevents sticking quite a bit compared to like olive oil. So when the ghee melts in the pans, the first pan on the right hand side, I'm going to have the heat on the stove top turned down to a very low, and the pan on the left side is going to go back into the oven after we put the beef franks in and spread them out evenly, and that'll give them a chance to cook and get browned. So we take our flipper and spread everything out. Remember, the pans are hot, so we're taking our mitten and putting this pan back in the oven to heat up and brown and cook the beef franks. In the meantime, the other pan is still hot from being in the oven, preheated in the oven, and now has the temperature turned up. And we're going to go back and check the beef franks to make sure that they're cooked really well. And you can see they get kind of rounded and brown, and once they get kind of cooked, then we can add the other ingredients. So the other ingredients are our yellow bell pepper and our onions, and now we're going to add the mushrooms themselves. And stir them all together really well to make sure that they cook evenly. And essentially what we're going to do is put it back in the oven and cook it until the onions themselves become kind of translucent. The peppers and the mushrooms mostly are just water, so they're going to cook down a little bit but get slightly tender. We're not going to overcook them too much. Once everything's mixed back together, then we'll take our mitten and put this pan back in the oven at 380 still and let those cook down. Now, after about 5 to 10 minutes, we'll pull those ingredients back out again and just take a look and make sure that they're cooking and stir them up so that they can cook evenly. And return them back to the oven to continue cooking. The onions aren't thoroughly cooked yet, but it's getting close. So next we'll take our scrambled eggs, mix them up again. Remember, this is eggs and milk with a little bit of 4 Mexican cheese and a very small amount of vanilla for flavoring. The pan continues to be hot from the oven, and the stovetop is set on a very low setting. The idea is to allow the eggs to cook very gradually. So after about 5 minutes, I'll come back and check just to make sure that the eggs aren't sticking, and we'll run the flipper down around the bottom of the pan just to loosen any eggs that may have stuck to the bottom and allow them to continue cooking. After another 10 minutes or so, we'll come back once again after these eggs have cooked a little more, and we'll check our oven ingredients to see how they're doing. Once again, mitt for safety. And we can see that the onions are becoming a bit more translucent, so we're going to call this cooked and ready. And I'll put it back in the oven to keep warm and turn the oven temperature off. We really don't want it to cook more at this point, we just want it to stay warm. So oven temperature goes off, and we go back to the eggs, and now all we're doing is flipping the eggs. Just the eggs that were on the bottom, we're just trying to turn over and let the liquid get down to the bottom of the pan. And we are kind of scraping the bottom of the pan to make sure that the eggs aren't sticking to it. We'll let those sit for another about 10 minutes and come back and check again. And now, as you can see, the longer we wait, the more the eggs are consolidating and cooking together, and the cheese is melting. And the nice thing about the cast iron pans, you can see that the eggs aren't actually sticking much to the bottom of the pan. And one more final flip. We'll take a look, and it appears as if the eggs are starting to brown really well, and there's no more liquid left in the pan. The eggs have all cooked. So we're going to turn it over one more time, make sure everybody's evenly cooked and the cheese is melted. And as you can see, eggs are done. So we'll pull out the pan with the toppings. And as you can see, they are nice and yummy. And it's almost time to eat. So I put pepper in the bottom of my bowl. I'll add the eggs first. And they're nice and steamy, hot and cooked. The eggs, or the cheese, is all melted, browned. Spread them out evenly on the bottom, and then add the top ingredients, including our beef franks, the peppers, the onions, and the mushrooms. And the stovetop is turned off, so the oven's been off, the stovetop is now turned off, and everything is going to cool down while we get ready to eat our meal. All right, so in the end, we have our bowl of food, a spoon, and our glass of milk, all ready for a tasty meal. And afterwards, both pans I just wipe out with a paper towel and prepare them to be cleaned in the sink and ready to eat or finish for later. So, this has been Cast Iron Cooking. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more.